Namaskar, I'm Sadguru. So I'm not sure if you have heard of the TV series called Sacred Games. It's very famous or unfamous. It is a lot of sexual and violence content in it. So what do you think art and entertainment should be given that much space, or it is disturbing to know that TV series like these are very famous and popular in today's generation?
If I understand the question right, you're asking why something that depicts so much violence and sexuality, why is it popular or why should we allow it to happen? Is that the question?
Yeah, or it should be allowed in art, as in it's okay to be there.
See, the dangers of this, even addressing this question is, now, if you address this question, immediately some people think their own ideas of what's right and wrong can be imposed on other people, which will not work. In a free society, it will not work. At the same time, is violence, extreme violence in movies and very gross ways of usually sexuality means generally a woman is being treated in a not necessarily a nice way. I remember in the 70s, there were movies, Hindi movies. I did not see most of them, but people used to tell me that there were some actors who were called rape specialists.
Hindi.
Yeah, in Hindi. So in every movie, there has to be one rape. It became almost like a standard for some time. So all those people who saw those movies as children, because there was no adult certification for that, anybody could go and watch it, they thought this is the way to treat a woman. Now when rape happens in the street, why are you surprised, I'm asking? We have cultivated them. All said and done, the cinema may be a commercial enterprise, but it has a profound impact in a society like this. See, in certain other countries, people watch the movie, go home, forget about it. Here it's not like that. We even elect them. Because a cinema is not a cinema. Cinema is more than reality in this country. So when it is like that, I think it should be conducted more responsibly. What is it that we are trying to create? If you try to control it from outside, it'll become ugly. If people use just about anything and everything to make money at the cost of the society, that is definitely ugly. So I don't know what this television serial is because I never get the time to look at that place. Whatever it is, I don't know in what context. See, there is violence in the society, you don't have to hide it, you can show it. There is sexuality in the society, you don't have to hide it, you can show it. But are you glorifying it or are you showing it in a way that people say, this is not the way? You showed a rape because it's happened. When people see it, they must say, this is not the way. If they think, wow, this is the way, then what kind of society are you creating? So, many times this has come to me in various different forms, this kind of question. I think people are hiding behind art. I'm sorry if I say anything wrong. People are hiding behind the term art. If it is art, it should not be so commercial. You're doing commerce and you're calling it art. There may be some artistry involved in it, we appreciate that. But there was a time when we were growing up, there were art movies and there were commercial movies. Now there is no such thing. Commercial movies are art. So commercial movies are made essentially to make money. Somebody is investing to make money, nothing wrong with commerce, because nothing wrong with commerce, nation's commerce has to develop in all levels. So entertainment is also commerce, it's fine. If it is commerce, then it must be controlled, there must be proper… For every commerce, there is a certain amount of control, isn't it, in a society? In this society, though today everybody, at least a big percentage of population is drinking, still we are holding on to it, that you cannot advertise alcohol. They will show an alcohol bottle and say CDs and music. Yes or no?
Sparkle water.
Sparkling water. That is okay, but CD and music, how does it come, I don't know. Anyway, I'm saying when we see it is going to influence the society in a big way, there are controls. So, if something is going to impact the society, there must be some sort of control. It is best the self-control is self-imposed rather than a government agency imposing it, because then it'll become something else very ugly, it'll become somebody who doesn't know anything about it. It is not about deciding what people should see and should not see. It is about where do we want to drive the society. Right now, more than… I don't know about this television serial, I'm continuously speaking about all the… what are these… video games. A 5-year-old child enjoys shooting people. That's the only thing he plays. He enjoys shooting people on the screen. It's quite good because it doesn't spill blood anywhere, it's okay. There it spills, but it's okay. Now when he becomes 18, doesn't he want to get a little real? Hello? In United States, the school shootings are happening. People think it's an American phenomenon. No, no, no. If there were guns in Indian homes, it will happen. Hello? You think it won't happen? In America, in every home, there is more than one weapon, all right? In almost every home, there is more than one weapon, minimum. There is at least a shotgun and a handgun, for sure.
And we have toy guns.
Not that, I'm saying real firearms.
Yeah.
So there is excess, so it is only happening in America. But if there were weapons in Indian homes, even here kids would be shooting each other, for sure. When emotions fire up, you want to shoot, isn't it? So from the age of 4, 5, if you're practicing how to shoot people, when you become 16, 17, 18, don't you want to get real? Don't you want to see some real blood? I don't see what's wrong. If you are cultivating your children to do this on the screen continuously, what is the problem for you if he gets real? Or if his friend gets real and he shoots your child, what is the problem, I'm asking? Because you must understand, certain actions have certain consequences. This must be handled responsibly by people who are creating those things. If you bring laws for everything, then society becomes ugly. Government cannot manage these things, people should manage these things. So if somebody makes such a thing, people should not go and watch it. But no, they all want to go and see. So somewhere they enjoy it, isn't it? Today you see any of the Hollywood movies, it's not like before. Before also they were shooting, but now it comes, the bullet enters and the brains splash and there is a rerun. Again it comes in slow motion and splashes all over the place. People are enjoying it. Once you enjoy these things, then violence is inevitable on the street. It's just a question of graduation, isn't it? So, what kind of society we want to create? All those people who influence the society in a big way, whether artists, politicians, media people, spiritual leaders, religious leaders, whoever has influence over people, they must look into themselves and see what is the consequence of our actions. This much responsibility must come.
Sadguru, here.
Ooh. How did you
Okay,
grab the
same place.
microphone?
Yeah. I have a question. My previous generation, my fathers are farmers, but they made me an engineer because they couldn't able to survive from their land. So the complete generation of my 5 fathers has converted to engineers or some other works.
Oh.
So entire farming is vanished there. I'm interested to do farming, but because of the survival problem, I came to an engineering. So how I have to overcome this process?
Okay. Anyway, we would like to have a well-studied engineer, not an engineer who's converted. I don't know what that means. How do you get converted to engineering? Anyway, I understand what you're saying. See, this is a major tragedy unfolding in the country. Out of 160 million hectares of arable land in this country, 104 million hectares of land, the soil is right now labeled as distressed. That means nearly 60% of our soil is moving towards becoming uncultivable in a matter of anywhere between 15 to 40 years' time. In 40 years' time, the fertile lands that you have seen will turn into uncultivable land, maximum 40 years' time, anywhere between now to then. How does this happen? If you want the soil to be rich, before we go into that, I want you to first understand, what is sitting here as you and me is just the soil that you walk upon, it's just a piece of the planet. If the soil is weak, the food becomes weak. The food is weak, our very genetics become weak. There's substantial studies about this. So why has the soil become weak? Why such a phenomena is happening in this country? The only way you can put back organic content into the soil is by the leaves of the trees and the animal waste. Trees are gone long time ago, just to tell you to what extent. In the Ganga basin, which accounts for 25% of India's geography and 33% of India's agriculture, we have removed 92% of green cover in the last 50 years. 92%. What is our plan for this land? In Kaveri basin, which is some 83,000 square kilometers, right now we're running a campaign called Kaveri Calling. All of you must be a part of it one way or the other. In Kaveri, in the last 50 years, we have removed 87% of the green cover. So no leaves, no trees, no leaves. Animals are all traveling abroad. How will you enrich the soil? The food that you're eating is just the soil. You ate it up. What did you put back? Nothing. By throwing chemicals, you think it'll happen? Pretentious agriculture is happening. If we don't change this, whatever other aspirations we have, everything will fail. Doesn't matter what business, industry, what you develop, we'll have serious issues. People think water is the issue, water is not the issue, soil is the issue. If soil is rich, there will be enough water. So the reason why agriculture is suffering is, this is one aspect. The other reason is, why at the time of independence, over 92% of Indian population was in agriculture. If you look back and see, 250 years ago, We were the largest economy on the planet. We were the biggest exporters. 33% of the world's export came from India 250 years ago. So what were we exporting? Were we exporting rice? No. Were we exporting agricultural produce? No. What were we exporting? We were exporting largely spices, more than that, textiles. Andhra Pradesh, every district has a weave of its own. Yes? Textiles was the main thing. Between 1800 and 1860, when the English decided to destroy the textiles of this nation, systematically they went about destroying it. From 1800 to 1860, our exports came down by 96%. So that doesn't happen just like that. That was done as a systematic process. So when this destruction of industry happened, millions of people died in those 60 years, where one of the British Governor-Generals writes back saying, the fields of India are bleached with the bones of the weavers. Millions. It is estimated over 3.5 million to 4 million people died in those 60 years out of starvation. The rest desperately went about doing some kind of subsistence agriculture. Subsistence agriculture means I have a piece of land, I will grow little rice, little dal, little this, little that, everything that I need for a family, I will scratch the land and grow. This sort of agriculture happened. This is why 92% or 92% were in agriculture. Today this number has come down to 65%, thanks to you, you became converted engineer. 65 to 70% are still in agriculture. What this means is, for 10 people to eat, we want 10 people to eat, but now 7 of them are cooking. Do you think this is a good use of people? 10 people want to eat, very efficient, 1 person can cook. Don't want 2 or 3 people can cook. 7 people cooking for 10 people is not a wise way to do things, but that's where we are right now. Still 7 people are cooking for 10 people. So, you and more people must become engineers, it is good, or whatever else they have to become. But at the same time, can you let the agriculture die? Because today, if you make a survey, we have made some surveys, not official surveys, but generally we've just asked around. If you ask around, how many farmers want their children to go back to farming? Less than 2%. This means in another 20-25 years when this generation passes, we will not know how to grow food. You may think the farmer looks illiterate, he's not dressed like you, he doesn't look like you, he looks like no good. But I'll do one thing for you, you are from the farming family. Those of you for 2 generations who lived in city, you have MBA, even if you have agricultural MSc, you come, I'll give you 10 acres, fertile land. 5 different crops, you grow it by yourself without taking local help. You will see you can't do it. Because this intrinsic knowledge that our farmer has, this is one of the most fantastic things that India has done is, of the many things, well, we are going to the moon, we've gone to Mangalyaan, all kinds of things, businesses have done great things, science has done many things, but the most fantastic thing is, without any science of any modern science, without any new technology, just with traditional knowledge, our farmers have fed 1 billion people. This is not a small thing. So this transition from farming to other things should not happen out of desperation, should happen as a good plan to do. Right now, one reason why farming is not succeeding is, soil is weak, so water is scarce. Another thing is, scale is too small to make it successful. The average land holding is 1 hectare, that means 2¼ acres per family is what we have. At this level of holding, whatever you do is going to be waste. Everybody is under loan, okay? Some 78% of Tamil Nadu's farmers are under debt. Because, I'll just tell you an example. a young farmer in our region. It's very fertile region. He has 3.5 acres. So I meet him and ask him, what are you doing for your water? What's your water source? He says he has put 9 bore wells. In 3.5 acres, he's put 9 bore wells. Because there are bore well companies which will come and promise, if you put it here, more water will come, if you put it there, more water will come. Everybody is hitting bore wells and bore wells. In 3.5 acres, maybe there is 1 or 2 sources, or maybe there is no source of water. Because the scale is so small, everybody is putting a fence, everybody has a bore well, everybody has an electric connection. This is not going to work. We need the scale, otherwise it'll not work. Does it mean to say we have to take their land? No, for this we have worked out a system. I don't want to go into all the details in this, but this is what Rally for Rivers was about, how to integrate irrigation and marketing for the farmer so that his life can change. Now, one more big thing is, see, India, the latitudinal spread that you have from Kanyakumari to Himalayas, 12 months of the year you can crop. There are very few nations where you can grow crops 12 months of the year. From Kanyakumari to Himalayas, you can grow literally almost anything you want in the world. If we handle this land right, we can provide food for the entire world. It's possible to do that. And this is the only nation where 65 to 70% of the population knows how to do this magic of transforming mud into food. It is not a small thing. We could use that knowledge, we could use that capability, or we could make them destitute and come to cities and live in slums without any dignity, without any life to live, without any productivity, getting into crime. You become an engineer, I'm glad. Many farmers' children join crime or other kinds of things because they have no other option. So this needs to be addressed. So one of the things is, we have converted literally over 69,670 farmers in Tamil Nadu from regular farming to what is called as agroforestry. Their incomes have gone up 5 to 10 times in a matter of 8 to 10 years. This is what we are calling as the Kaveri calling for the Kaveri belt… Kaveri basin area, because if you do this, we want to convert 1/3 of the Kaveri basin into agroforestry. If you do this, the 46% depletion that's happened in the river waters will come back. River will flow once again, farmers will be rich and well-to-do, all this debt that is there in the banks will not happen because farmer will be rich by his own resource. This has to be done in a planned way, we must execute this. Otherwise, this nation is sitting on too many problems and too many possibilities also. But to convert problems into possibilities, every citizen has to stand up and do what needs to be done.
Namaskaram, Sadguru.
Where are you?
Sadguru here.
Okay.
When a movie is made, the idea and the story is…
The question is for him.
No, Sadguru, it's to you. The idea and the story is developed to make it more popular on commercial factors. It developed on commercial factors to make it more popular, to reach more number of people. Can we use cinema to spread the spiritual methods to large number of people through commercial and popular ways? Can you give some direction towards it?
దీని మీద సినిమా తెచ్చా అంటున్నారా ఇలాంటి?
To spread the spiritual methods, yes. Yeah. I mean, how do we use cinema to take the spiritual methods more to the… make it more popular?
తీయచ్చండి, బ్రహ్మాండం తీయచ్చు, బట్ సెట్ ఎక్స్పెక్టేషన్ ఉండకూడదు. ఈ వీకెండ్కి ఇంత కలెక్ట్ చేయాలి అలాంటివన్నీ పెట్టుకోకూడదు. బ్రహ్మాండం తీయచ్చు, బట్ తర్వాత కలెక్షన్స్ మాట్లాడుకోకూడదు అంతే. తీయచ్చు సినిమా అంటున్నాను, బట్ అది దాన్ని రీచ్ ఏంటి లేదంటే కొంచెం పేషెన్స్ ఉండాలి, నిజంగా జనంలోకి వెళ్ళాలి, అందరూ రావాలంటే. బట్ సినిమా అంటే ఒక కథలాగా చెప్పాలనుకుంటున్నారా?
Yeah. Yes.
అది చేయొచ్చు, వీ క్యాన్ ఇన్కార్పొరేట్. చాలా చాలా మంచి విషయాలు అప్పుడప్పుడు దూరుస్తుంటాం సినిమాల్లోకి, కొన్నిసార్లు కుదరదు.
Sadguru, can you give some direction in this?
మీరే ఇవ్వాలి.
He is the director, he is the actor. Okay, anyway. See, cinema means you're thinking in terms of the big screen. Well, it's not that it's not a possibility. The question is, who will go and watch it? It has to be commercially successful. Commercial success means people watched it, all right? This happened. This is about 10 years ago maybe now. I was in United States and I was talking to somebody who's some kind of an expert on internet affairs. So, I never get to go on the net and browse this and that. I never have the time to do those things. So I asked him, what are people looking for? Everybody is looking at their screen, what are they looking for? Very casually, very casually, as a matter of fact, he said, Sadguru, about 70% of the data is pornography. I said, what? He said, yes. I said, I don't want to believe this kind of nonsense. 70%, is it pornography? It's not possible. Then I checked with a few other people, they all say, yeah, it's around that much, maybe 65, 70, something. And what else are they using this for? There are many other things, drug sales, arms sales, all kinds. More than anything, what really kind of brought disgust to me was 1.6 million children below 15 years of age are sold on the internet every year. When we sell our children, as human beings, we've hit the bottom. There's no further down to go. Huh? When we start selling our children to be used in all kinds of slavery, this means we've hit the very bottom, there's no further place to go, isn't it? That is when I decided, then let me get on the net. So in the last 10 years, we've run a campaign that many of you in the upper regions might have suffered this. Even if you're watching pornography, in between, Sadguru appears, inner engineering. I'm saying this with some glee because when such a phenomenal technology is available to us, is this what we do? See, many great beings have come on this planet, but when they came, if they spoke, hardly 10 people heard. In the 10 people, all kinds of things. Today is the first time you can sit here and talk to the entire world. When there is such a tool in our hands, if we don't transform humanity now, that means we have no intention at all, isn't it?